Good morning, everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with you all. I can recognize some of you who I have been associated with, some of the things I involve. Michael Well, my longtime friend, back in 1996, yeah. And those who involved in the fundraising at Quang Temple, that we work together and have quite a number of meetings before the fundraising event took place. Today, I was invited to come to deliver a talk, and there are many things running in my mind. What sort of topics is appropriate for me to deliver? I have given the Dharma talk several times, but I always like to talk about something that I'm holding in my mind, because that is something very obvious and is very clear, and what I'm trying to observing myself, and that also be part of my practice as well. So it's very much very comfortable for me to share than just to give a Dharma talk like giving just like giving a lectures or a lesson. What's in my mind in last few months? Of course, as a Buddhist monk, we do have the obligation. We have obligation not only to learn, but to practice, but also to pass on what we understand to other people around us. Not just to lay people, but also to our family members, and also to other younger monastic members in the temple. So such an obligation often require me to observe who I'm trying to talk to, and what are they ready to receive or listen, or do they need a background knowledge about the topic, and so forth. And when I thinking about these things, I try to reflect what have I learned about these things from other master and Buddha. In our tradition, we talk a lot about Bodhisattva. What have they done in the past? What can I learn from them? There is many things that I have learned. But often what has been taught is the challenge that we face. And I think the solution will come by individually of how we reflect on the topic and our capability when we deliver that. When I look at these challenges, I think as a follower, you as a lay member as well, also have a quite similar obligation too. You are learning, you try to practice, and also there is obligation you pass it on what you learn to others. Hopefully we will pass it on everything. That may be too idealistic, but to pass it on, more important is the right message at the right time. Because not every medicine is good medicine when you don't need it. All right, the best medicine is the right medicines at the right time and the right dose. So when I reflect, I come across in my memory a number of efforts that those who enlightened before us observe observe the situation, and they come up with some strategy, or or they apply the skillful means to pass on their understanding. And I think if we try to look at this topic from the point of view of a person who tries to pass on the understanding, I think that also helping us to learn. How we should learn, because if we can have the mind of the teachers, then I think we will learn much better, because we will understand what the teacher tried to say and what sort of knowledge he or she want to pass it on, and what sort of skill can we get out from there. All right. So also learn it from the way the teachers want it to be. So I reflect on one of the story. Excuse me. One of the story in the Lotus Sutra. The challenge was present in form of a story. There was a big family of a very rich man. He very wise, he very skillful, he very strong. He have a lot of possession, but one day his house was burned, and the children in the house, just the kids, they just running around, and very soon the burning house could collapse at any time. But the children just they so playful, they enjoy running around, and they careless about the dangers coming to them. So the father, he horrified. He called out. He say, "Children, the house is burning. Please leave, or else we all get killed here." And children listen to him, understand what he said, but they still keep running around. All right, for them, the fun thing probably is more important than the dangers they face. I don't know if this can reflect in any of us. Sometimes we willing to take the danger path for fun. Okay, but anyway, that not work at all. By just yell out and warn the children, it not work. So then he come up with a strategy. Say, so the children's love to play. This might be the way to throw them out of this house. They say, "Okay, children, I have a lot of toys out there. Anything you would like. I have cart pulled by goats. I have cart pulled by deer. I have beautiful cart pulling by the very beautiful, strong ox or cow. Yeah, all right. Whatever you like, please come and enjoy it. Take it." And the children like that idea, so they all rush it out of the house, and once they get out of the house, they say, "Daddy, where are they? Where are all these toys that you promised?" And the father say, "Okay, I can give them whatever they like, because I'm very rich. I can give them the cart that pulled by goats, cart pulling by deer and ox. All right, but anyway, what I can offer is the best of all." So he gives the children the best of what the children ask for. All right. Okay, so here I think that this challenge facing all of us as well. We try to do a lot of good work for ourselves and for other, our family member, for society. But whatever we do, consider to be good, we only provide the good condition. We lay out all the condition for the good seed to grow. But do people take that and grow the good seed? You can prepare the rice field perfectly with a lot of fertilizer, with good soil, with a lot of water, but do people bring good seed to plant? They might not do that. They might just come and whatever you offer is there. So we might reflect this weight on what Buddha and teachers have tried to come and offer. They come and offer so many things. They give Dharma talk, they organize retreat, they prepare many things. And I think all of that work, they create the right condition. But do we go there to plant the seed or not? But when you look at the rice field, you can see that not just rice crop grow, but also a lot of wheat growing there. So the seed we try to grow, sometimes they are wheat. They are not proper rice or edible plant that we put the seed in there. So here, that is the challenge. That is the challenge. Didn't parents work hard and want to leave your property for your children? And what do you wish the children to use the property for? Will they have a good life? Will they grow successfully with what you leave to them? You are just creating the condition for the children to grow. Not necessarily all of these that we left behind, not all the children will take and benefit themselves. Sometimes they can take it, but in a harmful way. We can say that many spoiled children in the society create a lot of headache to the parents as well. Not just that they come with the intention of the elder. They use the money and they use the property or they use whatever possession that offer to them to educate themselves, to build their good life, or to use them for a better life and to build a harmony around themselves, to eat properly or to consume for their own good health. And not every child take up what the parent offer in a good way or plan for their life in a good way. I think this also come back to us. So we have the good condition. Sometimes we do complain. We say that the condition is not supportive for me to practice. The condition around me is so go against me. The condition around me, it just makes things so difficult for me to grow, either physically or mentally or spiritually. We always can see that why it's difficult to grow. But we forget that, do we have really want to grow? Of course we want to grow. But in what way we want to grow? So here I'm talking about what sort of thought, what sort of intention do we arise in our mind at a given time? And is that correct thought that we are arising. Now it will become the skill that we need to have, and that also the skill that the children need to have, and that also become the skill that disciple need to have. Now, in back to the Lotus Sutra, when the Buddha reflect in the past, so many Buddhas have come to the world. So many bodhisattvas, so many good people, so many arahats. They make a lot of good preparation for people to come to practice. Here, when I talk about practice, I want to say about the core of the thing we need to plan, not just physical practice, but what it arises in our mind. And if you read Dhammapada, what is the most important one? It's thought, isn't it? Yeah? Okay. So bear that in mind. That are the seeds that I'm trying to talk about. So given a situation, not everyone arises the same thought. Not everyone arises a compassion thought, or a kindness thought, or a thought of liberation, or a thought that take us out of suffering, or a thought that take us to improve our mental state. Different people have different thoughts, but that's okay. Just like a rainfall, it just fall down, and whatever seed will grow to its form and its shape. Yeah. So the kindness of the teachers or the Buddha or Bodhisattva or parents, yeah, they just give. They just offer. They just offer selflessly. The sun just shine. The tree just given the canopy, and it's up to individual to take up that offer. So I'd like you to reflect this and see, can you recognize all these offerings around you? Yeah, I think a peacefulness we have here compared with a place where there is a war, like in Ukraine or in other parts of the world where the securities do not exist. Here we have that. Do we happy? Because I'm sure that when the government, in a warring state, and now the war is over, I'm sure that people will jump, they will yell, they will celebrate, it's just because the fighting is stopped. And there's still a long way to rebuild. But we are peaceful here. Do we celebrate it? Do we really jump up and enjoy it? Or we just say, it's just the same every day. Of course, this peaceful state is what we need to celebrate. We need to see that it's so much work in order for us to have peace. It's so much work that for us to enjoy the security and sleep good at night, that a lot of work there involved. Okay, so if you can see that we, even though we are practicing or not practicing, but the conditions around us are very supportive. It's always there. The teacher is always ready to answer the question, right? Okay. I'm sure that Ajahn Brahm is not here, but he could be just a phone call away, or just a text message that you want to ask something. So they're there. Just like when you want to turn on the TV, the TV station do not wait until you turn on, they start to broadcast. They broadcast 24 hours. It's just a matter of you turn on your TV or not, that you start to watch, or you turn on your radio to start to listen. They have to make it ready continuously, day after day, and no fail. Yeah? Okay. So we often come to the Buddha and Bodhisattva, ask for help, right? And say, oh, please come help and do this and that. Wow, I have different thought. I think the Buddha already help. They already present everything there. It's just a matter that we take up that offer or not. So in the society, we talk about opportunity. Yes, the opportunity is there. You are allowed to ask questions. You are allowed to learn and practice and receive the guidance. So then the excuse that I have so many difficulties that I cannot practice. I think we have to, don't take that thought too far, because we have a lot more offer than just the loneliness in life, that we have to create everything ourselves to create the right condition. The many supporting conditions is there. Okay, so talking about all this, it's just about that we need to sow the right seed. So let's be selective here. What seed we want to grow? We know that the rice field is there, ready, right? Rice field is there. When you see the monk having they rope with the patch put together, you notice that? The monk rope, whichever tradition, it could be Theravada or Mahayana or Vajrayana, they rope is many patches put together. And it resembles the picture of the rice field. Come from one day Buddha and Anand observing the rice field from the hill. They look down into the civilians occupied area, and the rice field is quite beautiful. So then it becomes the design, the shape of the monk robe, right? So they have that. Okay, so the monk robe is, I'm sure that meaning it create a condition, right condition for people who want to practice. They create a condition. So now it comes back to all of us. We need to sow the right seed, and it's everywhere. So where can we sow? Or what seed, of course. All right, let's sow good seed. All right, and when can we sow? Now, you know that a good thought can easily come in your mind. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control other. Sometimes you cannot 100% control your body because it can get sick and ill. But there is one thing we can control 100%, 100%, is your thoughts. And many times in texts talking about this power you have, we often have to go to someone to empower us to let go of the negative thoughts and arise positive thought. Think positive. Okay, I think those are the good advice. Those are good advice. But the advice that should go before that is that you should see it. You are fully 100%, no less, control of your thoughts. people can be tortured, but they cannot, change people's thoughts. People can have the thought. So thought is your control. There is something you cannot control, but thought is your control. And then thought control your happiness and sadness, right? If you have the right thought, different thought will give you different view of the society. Yeah. Okay. If you have full of negative thought, don't think the world is a happy place to live. So regain that power. Regain that power, the power you have on your thoughts. So therefore the Buddha, many times he reminded, the path leading us to suffering and happiness and, go to a good place or bad place, sometimes in your control. But sometimes we deny that authority. We think that, no, but it's not right it's not supporting all that kind of thing. Yes, sometimes the conditions, it might not be so supportive, but the thought you have is fully controlled by you. What thought you want to have and what thought you don't want to have, you tell me who have that power to change it if it's not you. Of course, we do have some time let our thought be created by others, because we listen sometimes to media, we watch movie, we be entertainment, and we arise some thought, and we keep doing that, and then we lose the confidence. We think that good thought will come from other, yeah. I'm talking the thought arise in your mind. I'm not talking about information you receive, right? Information, yes, they receive from other, but not necessarily your thought. Right? So we lose that confidence. We think that I be affected by all this. That people give me this information, that information. Yes, people will give you all that, but do you generate that thought or not? Is you. No one else to blame, because you can. They say the definition of control. What is definition of control? You can start it. You can change it, and you can stop it. Definition of control. So, thought, is that what you have without thought? Can you stop a thought? When you do the breathing, you stop many stream of thoughts, yeah? Can you change it? Definitely, yes, you can. That's why you can change from negative thought to positive thoughts. Yeah, can you start it? Of course you can start it. You can start a good thought at any moment you like. Even in mid of my talk, you still can arise a good thought in your mind. Yeah, you can stop a stream of thoughts at any time you like, and you can change it. It's up to you. Yeah, okay. But somehow, along the line, in our life, we lose that confidence. We lose that authority. We just give that to someone else. We think someone else will create a better us. So, when you can see that, yes, I'm 100% in control of my own thoughts, and my own thought is where I begins building my life. And the next thing is that, do I have the right condition to grow these thoughts? Again, you can see that the supportive around you, there is so many things that's supporting us, supporting from everyone. When I think of this, I say, but sometimes good thoughts come from very bad situation. That's why we have some very good sage, some hero. You know why? Because in a very bad situation, these people generate good thoughts. That's how we solve problem, isn't it? The problem is so big, but someone come up with some idea of how to solve the problem. So therefore, not always supportive condition arise good thought, but sometimes the very unsupportive condition also arise good thoughts. Some very poor people also have very good thoughts. Some rich people also can generate good thoughts. Only the difference is we have the right condition to grow our thoughts. All right, and now I will talking with that later. But here I can say that don't always have a negative thought about a negative situation, because that can give you an opportunity to arise good thoughts. Often people say, this thing, I'm not very lucky because this thing happened, or that thing happened. All right. There was a story, I think, in Chinese, in a Chinese text. There was a man, he lose a horse. And people say, it's a very lucky day that we lost the horse. And he say, no, not necessarily lucky. All right. And then one day they found the horse. They say, oh, we are lucky we found the horse. So we're very lucky. They say, no, not necessarily we are lucky. Because as soon as they found the horse, one of his son ride the horse and he fell. He got an accident, so he broken his arm. So I say, oh, what a bad luck day. The boy broken his arm. It's not necessarily that bad luck. And then the war broke out. Then the recruitment happened, and because the son have broken arm, so he been exempt from enlist in the military. So that's they say, oh, that's very lucky. I say, no, not necessarily lucky. So basically, whatever happened in our life, if we look at that in a positive way and prepare ourselves to have many good changes, that thought to be bad luck is good luck. But if something like happens so great, but from there everything go very badly, is that still good luck? It seems to be good luck, but it's a bad luck, because when it's happened, after it had happened, so many negative things happen. One of the good example is win lottery. Many people win lottery. What do you consider, is that good luck or bad luck? I'm sure that if people who keen on put hope in lottery, when they win the lottery, they think it's good luck. But the statistic I read somewhere, majority of people who win lottery have got their life changed in a negative way. And I quite agree. Or strongly agree with that. Why? People can sometimes use money for something good or change their life in a good way. But do people always do that? Do people always change their life better when they have a lot of money? Right? I think that might not be the case. Why? Because if you meditate, you can see that inside us, they are good thoughts and bad thoughts. Why don't we go out and buy a very expensive car? Because I don't have money. Why don't you go out and buy yourself a beautiful mansion? Why? Because I don't have money. So which means that when you don't have money, you hold back from a lot of things, So what happens when you have money? All these temptations are just unleashed. when all the temptation unleashed, what will happen? Yeah? Okay. So therefore, watch out. If next time you win lottery, a lot of potential harm is there. They unleash. So giving some people a lot of money might not be a good thing. Because why? If they don't control their temptation, they greed, all these things just unleashed, like hell broken. Hell broken. Okay. So, good luck, bad luck is at that moment on how we change our life. So if something very negative happen, calamity could befall, or something terrible happen, but if we improve ourselves from there on, whatever happen is, when you look back, you think is good luck. But whatever happened from there, things just fall apart, everything decline, you gave up, you just become worse and worse. Yes, even, that consider lucky to me. Or when you reflect back, that become bad luck. Okay, so even a negative situation, negative condition, not necessarily people arise negative thoughts. People can still arise positive thoughts, or good thought, or wholesome thought, or holy thoughts. Yeah? If those who read the War and the Le Miserable, yeah, he's a very, very suffering of his poverty, but then suddenly a thought come in his mind, after he got helped by one of the, he covered and protected by one of the minister of the church. He have a good thought arise in his mind, and since then changed his life, changed the way he look at himself and the way he acts, and the better for the society. So not that people in the bad situation arise bad thought, good thought. So here, now you understand the principle, the condition that the Buddha and the monk and teachers, parents try to present. All they're waiting for is the good thought so on the field. And you know that all these thoughts is fully in your control. And even the situation are very terrible, but the good thoughts still arise, can still arise. And of course, it's just that we be patient, nurture this good thought until it bear fruit. And the benefit will be everyone. Yeah? Okay. Now, since we can see that wholesome and unwholesome are quite clear here, right? That if any thought that's a benefit for oneself and other, consider good, yeah? And now and later, not just now, but later also, is a good thought. That we use that as a way to test it, if that is a good seed we sow or not. Yeah. So something that might be good now, but might not be good in the future. Be careful of that. For example, some of the food we eat, very tasty, good now, but not so good for our health. All right. It's might be good for us, right? But not good for other. That might not also good. Like a person who accumulate the wealth too much, and all people around them are very poor. What happened to them? They put themselves in a very risky situation. Right? Now I like to segue a little bit about my talk about the thought, but I will come back. I will also want to share with you one of the notion about hungry ghosts, because we in the hungry ghost season now. Hungry ghosts in the sixth room, reincarnation. They come second last, second last. Chinese, if you those who are Chinese here, understand about these hungry ghosts. The hungry ghosts, they say they resided in the hell realm, hungry. But they also exist in the human realm as well, because when the monk meditate, they can see the hungry ghosts wandering around, and they also suffering. They also suffering. So which means that they also exist in human realm as well, among human realm. And definitely they also around in animal realms. And the hungry god realm by themselves also a realms by themselves. And in the Asura they also realms. So hungry god exists in five, the six, the reincarnation wheel. The sixth level from Deva right to hell realms. So the hungry god exists in five realms. So they're very popular all around. They're very popular. Before I thought, when I was young, I think hungry gods only they exist in the hungry gods realms. But when you read the Buddhist text, you can see that they exist in five realms, only in the heaven realm, because they have a lot of merit. So people in heaven realms don't get hungry. All right, but all the five realms, people can get hungry. So when I was young in the monastery, often in the afternoon meal, we do still take the afternoon meal, but I say be very quiet, because you can kill a hungry ghost. Because hungry ghosts, when they hear you bang your spoon on the bowl, they will come, but they cannot eat the food, so they will burn themselves and die in suffering. So you have to be very quiet when you have the afternoon meal, right? That's how I was taught, and I believe that for a long, long time, until one day I met one hungry ghost. Okay, back in 1990, when I traveled to Lyon, to take the precept, Bikkshu precepts, I met one real hungry ghost there. And so after finished, I was taken to the train station to go back to Paris to fly back to Australia. So I think in my pocket at that time I do have around $200 to travel and for meal along the way. I left the temple quite early in the morning, so I have $200. And when I get to the train station, well, it's only the fast train is available, and that only gives me enough time to get to Paris and board my aeroplane to get back in time. So just that fast train, bullet train, take up all my money. I have nothing left for the meal. I'm quite hungry for that day. but I'm not yet a hungry ghost yet. The hungry ghost come later. And when I got on the aeroplane, I was quite hungry because it's quite late. I boarded the plane at 7 o'clock, so quite late. When I got into the aeroplane, I think, they will feed me anyway. So just wait, they will feed. You know that when the aeroplane take off and for a while you can see all the hostess start running, preparing, and you can hear, behind the curtain, they're preparing the meal. Can you hear? Yeah? Can you recall when you fly? Okay, so I feel very comfortable when I hear that sort of sound. I say, here come the meal. I can quench my hunger. But after that, they just put things away and they turn all the lights off. No meal was served. I left quite hungry. I truly tell you, I'm very hungry at that time. And when you hear that kind of noise, you feel very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. So here, that's what I have learned. So when whatever we eat, not necessarily hungry ghosts are those ghosts, hungry. Even in the afternoon, when we eat some food, there are people who come back from work. My work pass where we are eating, they also feel uncomfortable too, yeah? When you're hungry and someone eating food somewhere and you are still waiting for your meal, maybe you have to get home to get your meal, all right? Along the way, when you see food, that level of comfortable arising. Yeah, you experience this sometime, or you notice it. I'm sure that it happened to all of us. Or even when you have to fast, and you hear people activity in the kitchen, you feel comfortable. Yeah. Okay. So that means that whenever we consume, be careful. There are people around us. They are uncomfortable. Even the meal when we eat. I think meal is one of very, very obvious example. But there's some other thing as well. So be very consider whatever we take, especially at the time we think that a lot of people are waiting for their meal. Doesn't matter they are poor or rich. They can have that feeling anyway. That feeling anyway. So here, teaching about hungry ghosts is for us to be careful of the suffering people having around us. We might be too. We might be suffer too when we hungry and we see other people eating and we cannot eat. So I'm sure that when we travel to some places, we see some children, they don't have enough food, and while we're eating, you be careful. The uncomfortable feeling in the child who watching we eating, yeah. So be very careful. So you can see that at the moment, if we can see that this hungriness arising, that also some positive reflection that we can have, because that will liberate us from the suffering. If we don't see these hungry ghosts, I'm sure that there is a lot of uncomfortable feeling arising, and other people as well. Okay, so other people as well. So let me go back to the thought and the condition. Now, the thought that we now can arise any good thought. So why don't we take the opportunity to arise all the good thought, the thought that be benefit for us, the thought that is benefit for other. One of the thought is when you practice awareness or mindfulness. Okay, we are mindful of the condition. We are mindful of the uncomfortable condition, or our mind condition. When we be aware of that state of condition, that awareness itself is a good seed you sow. Because from there you start to discover more and more of other uncomfortable feeling, or not to say if they're intense, they are suffering feeling. Many of these. And many of these are happening without we aware. That's why the samsara, we just been around and around and around without living. When we read the text here, I can see that teachings resemble there. For us to aware of the thought that arise and disappear, because that uncomfortable feeling have got to do with thoughts in some way, and quite a lot, or in parallel as well. So practicing mindfulness itself is we are sowing countless of good seeds, and facing all the challenge, facing all the difficulty, but with mindfulness, be aware of the state of mind. And if you need to generate thought, generate some thought that very benefit for you in your spiritual practice. In this way, we are not only not necessarily everything had to be physical action in order to call it action, but for you to observe and to see and to understand also of many good seeds we sow. Because one day when these seeds ripen, it definitely will bring happiness and liberation. Okay, now I leave time for questions. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Venerable. That probably leaves us about 10 minutes for questions. So we'll just alternate between the questions from the floor and from the online audience. So is there any questions from the floor first?
Thank you for the talk, Venerable. I just had a question about the mindfulness versus like generating a thought. So I guess in the practice of mindfulness, sometimes there's the possibility to not think. Is there a point where it starts to get as a hindrance to think too much positive thoughts? Is that a thing, or is that something that can become a problem? Or
yes, everything can be excessive, even good food. Anything, if we have too much, it can become greedy. Yeah, anything, even good thought too. But in medicines, there's some tablet. When you take, you have to take other tablets as well. To when the tablet that you take might not good for your stomach, so you need another tablet to neutralize that negative effect. Yes, thought can be excessive. But then, if you suddenly realize, I have too much thinking. Yeah, that thinking of too much thinking, that is the neutralize tablet that you need to have. Yeah, sometimes people, for good reason, they accumulate knowledge. Yeah, but some people just accumulate knowledge, but they don't utilize it. They don't teach, or they don't use that for action, just pure knowledge, and they're quite satisfied with it. That also, you need some reminding, something to neutralize that, or to help you to aware that we are excessively go too far into something, and that might not bring a lot of happiness, or might create even more burden, because sometimes obstacles come from our knowledge also. Yeah, so it's just to have a lot of thinking, good thinking, but also to have that thought of, yes, I'm have too much. Yeah, that thought also good friend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. Can I ask a follow-up question? It's a personal question, not an online question.
Yeah.
Just follow up on that one.
Yes.
You mentioned the definition of control as being you can start it, you can stop it, and I think you said you can change it.
Yes.
Look, my experience of that initial thought that maybe as a result of a circumstance that's negative, that that's occurring to me as negative, I've got no control over that. It's just this thought that's just come up and it's got a negative reaction. It's a habitual. If there's sufficient mindfulness, I can substitute it, as you would say, like change it towards a positive or negative, from a negative to a positive thought. But that initial thought, there was no control over that. It just arose. So
Yeah.
can you just explain that?
Oh, definitely. They many time we don't confident to use the power we have. That need to be reminded. There was a kind of a funny story that we sometimes said in the mental health. There was a man, he thought he was a worm, not a human. But many times the doctors say, no, you are human, you're not a worm. And then later on, after spending a lot of time in the psychiatrist hospital, and the doctor say he okay to go home. And then not very long after he left the hospital, he run back. He say they were the chicken on the way. He say, yeah, so what? It's a chicken. No, the chicken will eat me. He say, no, you're human. You're not a worm. But do the chicken know that? Okay. A cartoon, Lion King. Yeah, the cub, after lose themselves or lost themselves from the group, and they lose the confidence he's a lion. Only when someone remind him he's a lion, so that's why he come back and then challenge the uncle regime. So yes, sometimes we do need remind. That is where the community come in. From time to time, we need remind. The peer group is a perfect situation for reminding, and we put a sign on the wall to remind, and we have alarm to remind. So a lot of things we put in place to remind ourselves about that. Yeah, negative do arise, but it's just how we put in a mechanism to remind ourselves. Yeah, no, we in control of our own thoughts. Yeah, the negative thought, out of habit, they will come back again and again. Yeah, just like fear, just come back again and again. But it's just a matter how they say it's not bad about the bad thought, but it's bad that we realize that too late. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Venerable. Mm-hmm. There is one online question here. So the question is, in one sutra, the Buddha talks about the practice for oneself and others, and says that the practice for oneself consists of the practice of eliminating one's own greed, hatred, and delusion. And the practice for others consists in encouraging them to do the same. How could I encourage my parents to practice Buddhism when they don't like it?
Before I answer that question, I would like to tell you about the Ulaanbaatar festival that we're at the moment. In the 7-month lunar calendar, we celebrate lunar or Ulanjie, yeah, in Chinese, Ulanjie, Sanskrit word called Ulaanbaatar. The Ulaanbaatar said that a good child to repay parent kindness, not just caring for them physically, but also caring for them mentally as well. How to bring them into the good path, and so they enjoy the happiness in this life and the next life. Yeah, so that is the way how to repay the parent kindness, not just look after their physical life only, mental life and spiritual life as well. Well, to change parent, like you change any human beings, they are challenged. And they also weigh. And they also in the right condition. Things arise. So again, just like the parent prepare for the children, they prepare so many things. They prepare many rice fields and waiting for the children to grow their plant. Yeah, some children take that offer, some people don't take that offer. It's the same. We just have to prepare many good situations for the parent to participate, so that they can generate the good thoughts out from there, out from those activities they involve. And if they can do that, yet they benefit themselves. So one of them is because in the Buddhist context, we're talking about ask the parent to take the refuge in the Triple Gem and to take the precept, and so forth, and create many supportive conditions and a way for the right seed to grow. But we have to actively, because if we don't prepare that situation, then maybe one day the parent can generate the good thought, but they don't find a supportive condition. So supportive condition, we just have to patient and prepare and get it ready. That's how is how a leader should do. You prepare everything right and just wait for the right moment to come. It's just a way. So not every tactic will work. Sometimes you need a patience, but just keep preparing and preparing. And talking about Vinaya, I really recently in Mahayana we start to talk a lot about the positive thing in Theravada tradition. Mention about the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts. In our language, when we're talking about the word Vinaya, we're talking about freedom, individual freedom. And many people misunderstood about the precept. They say, if I don't take precept, I have more freedom. People often said that. Even at my temple, I say, you take 5 precepts, all right? Make the vow, take 5 precepts. They say, if I don't take precept, I can go hunting, I can go fishing. In my business, I can tell a little bit of white lie and so forth. I can drink alcohol. So taking 5 precepts, I lose some freedom. I say, but in Buddhism, you should know this. Every human gathering, there's written rules and unwritten rules. Every human, even at family, school, club. If people want to come to Australia, they need to observe Australian law. If you want to join a club, you have to keep the regulation. At home, there's certain rules that people have to observe and so forth. So rules or precepts give people the freedom. If you keep this precept, you have the freedom to participate in that area. If you keep the precept, you have the freedom to participate in that room. 5 precepts, I'm sure that is not only the foundation block to build up, in the ethical path, but they give freedom, and some masters say freedom to stay in the human rooms. If people keep 5 precepts, and people can have freedom in the heaven rooms by keep the 10 precepts. I say, is there any visa to go to hell? Visa go to hell, that means you can go in, go out. Not like criminal. Criminal, you go there, you're stuck there until you serve. But is there any visa or any freedom? Can we go to hell and come out? He say, keep the bodhisattva, just like those who work in the chaplaincy area. They go to prison and they come out. They do have that freedom. So keep the bodhisattva precept, give you that freedom to go to the Buddha land and go to the hell room and can come out as well. So Vinaya is freedom, not lose freedom. Should understand in the Buddhist way of logic. Yes.
Hello. I would like like to ask about aversion. I've been having some problems with my mental clarity because I dislike so many things. And I was wondering if in your studies you have found a specific practice, maybe a meditative practice or something, to clear many, many, many aversions.
Can someone rephrase that question for me?
You ask him what kind of practice will help you to clear
Aversion.
aversion.
How can I look at things that I don't like without running away?
We say what practice can she do that will not be afraid and then not feel aversion, something like that. No, don't do the aversion, something like that.
They are Dharma way and non-Dharma way. But whatever help, you should consider of it. For example, people go to see doctor or go see counseling or try them. Some of them will work, some might not work. But if we talk purely about the Dharma approach, then of course the Dharma, you look at it from what have caused it, and can we stop it now, so that we can have we can solve the problem now, but also good for the future. So when we look at the problem, do see the cause, work it out. What are the cause, and secondly, what conditions support this happen? If you can, some of the cause might be even happen many lives before that we don't know. But look at what conditions support this state of mind, this reaction. If you can see these supporting conditions, that will help. Because eliminate some of the condition will also slowly, make this problem slowly disappear or completely disappear. Because nothing exists with the right supportive condition. Yeah, if you can see that. So, what practice can be done? The practice is one thing, but also the supportive condition around that practice also. Now, of course, some teachers will talking about arise a compassion thought, or try to look into yourself, see what sort of reaction you have. But that also helps you to see, what sort of condition apart from the problem. What are the conditions around it? Okay, so I will not here. My advice is not just one thing will work, but try a different way. One of them will work. Yeah. But then it's on depend on your supportive condition around. Normally, the teachers or friends who are consistently be there with you, help you to get through. Normally, it comes down to that factors very, very, very greatly.
Is it about time, last one?
This is just a very quick question, and I was just curious as to why you went to Lyon for your to take your precepts. I would have thought you'd go to Vietnam, if I may ask that.
Yes. Back in 1990, I can recall at that moment my master also tried to create an ordination ceremony in Australia, but at that time we don't have the precept quorum. In our tradition, we need 3 preceptor and 7 witness monk, but we don't have that number. And back in 1990, travel back to Vietnam is still quite difficult because the Vietnam's communist regime still make it quite hard for a refugee like myself to return. Now I think the condition a lot improved. Novice to go back to Vietnam to take the precept, but not back in 1990. And in 1990, that also a challenge because I didn't have the Australian citizen. So I have to apply for, remember, certificate of identity. Yeah, normally if you don't have the citizen or you have the original passport in your home country, you have to apply that, and go to France with the CI is not very impressive. But luckily, at that year, my master have got a very good. In the committee, there was one lady. She speaks fluent French. She's used to serve in the Vietnamese embassy. In the embassy, so somehow she, by herself, she took all my documents and go to the consulate to convince them. So I was given 10-day visa to go to France. Yeah. So that's the reason why. Until 1992, that we first. Organize the ordination ceremony in Australia.
That's lovely, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we pay respect to the Buddha and then we finish off the day.
Nguyện đem công đức này hướng về khắp tất cả đệ tử và chúng sanh đều trọn thành Phật đạo. May the merits we generate today, the speaker and the listener, any positive thoughts, any positive mind, generate the benefits now and later. We dedicate to all other saints and beings for themselves to liberate from suffering and achieve the ultimate awakening.
Thank you, Venerable Phuoc Tan, for sharing your merits, and for sharing your merits as well, and your wisdom and your teaching. There's a dana box at the back for Quang Temple, so please practice your dana and generosities for the Quang Temple. Please feel free to join us for lunch next door. Thank you.